Moonbeam launching in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Moonbeam Radio. I'm your host, Jay Daniel. This is episode S316. Capture this. Thank you for your time and attention. Your ear gates, eye gates, and heart gate, you are appreciated. Now, if you're new to the show, welcome. And if you're a longtime supporter, welcome back. Now, this week, we'll discuss the Hall interview, In Disguise, Empire excuses, home restrictions, Cruz'd, Krogers closing, and code words. We're going to talk and laugh, maybe cry, but we will learn together with love. It's Jay Daniel, Moonbeam Radio. This portion of our broadcast is brought to you in part by June Moon Media Group. Custom DJ services, including personalized mixes and virtual hostings for all occasions. Pricing deals going on now. For all inquiries, email us at junemoonmediagroup@gmail.com. He's a director, writer, film editor, creator of the Hall Mills Network, specializing in independent films, documentaries, and music videos. Vocal.media says he's one of the filmmakers you should know. I agree with them. Jamal Hall, welcome to Moonbeam Radio. How are you?
I'm great, man. It's a pleasure to be here. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you for being here. Now let's jump right into this. You've written and directed the movie Lit. What was the filming process like with that?
Well, it didn't happen overnight. It was actually called another title that I can't say right now, but it was actually about 5 years ago. The idea in my head where interlinking dancing, Jersey club music with what teens actually go through in their everyday lives, and putting it together. Because I'm coming from an educational background as a teacher, and working in Patterson and Newark, I realized the kids will dance, and the next thing you know, they're out on the street being, whatever they're doing in the street. So a lot of times you ask, like, well, what's the reason why you dance? And it was like an outlet for them, And so I took that and put it into an actual story. And through the process, the first time I wanted to raise more money and put more money into the project, so I kind of put it on hiatus. And then when I got the right team together with Hall Mills Network, a partner, Cornelius Grimm, Whitaker, Dr. Mills, and then we added Shamari and Rashawn Wilson to the writing. The end result is what you see, what you get.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, the film is doing well. I've watched it several times. We've also talked about it on the program here, and I encourage everybody to watch it. I know that it moved to Tubi. It was on Amazon, and you just added Tubi. So congratulations on that. Also with the other awards it's won, so it's taken off and it's got a legs of its own now, right?
Yes, pretty much. Just moving organically. Well, a little help with promotion, but just, as a culture, club music in New Jersey is pretty big. So that helped a lot. And to tell you the truth, this is actually maybe the first film that's actually centered around Jersey club music.
Wow. So you're trailblazing and pioneering once again.
Right.
Now, I did see a trailer for Second Chance. Looks very good. I have to say that. Can you tell us about the film and how did that project come about?
Yes. Well, through my course of filmmaking, I did a lot of projects with Alonzo Horan, who's an executive producer and wrote the story for Second Chance, and we worked on a lot of films in the past together. For example, Living with No Regrets, our first one, and Kingdom North 2, the series. I did some post-production in Kingdom North, and The Fearless 1 and The Fearless 2. So he came to me with this project, and I liked it a lot because it was different than your average shoot 'em up in the street, kind of street kind of movie, urban movie. So it was something different for me and for him. And pretty much it's about, a guy getting a second chance at life to help somebody else and not himself. And that's the basis of the movie.
It like I said, it looks very good from the trailer, and it's interesting, and it's like you say, it's a fresh take on that, because we all could use a second chance one time in our life. Sometimes we need 3 and 4.
Okay. Yeah.
But looking forward to that. Now, was there a moment in your life where you said, I want to be a director?
Yes. I started off with doing music. My arts and culture developed a lot in Patterson. Not from Patterson, but that's what I would like to say that's what my career started in movie making and also in producing music. So I was producing music, and we needed another outlet, to make some money, because producing music sometimes you don't get, financial reward right away.
Right.
So doing a music video, I had a couple of short films in my mind, and so I wrote a short film called Striving, and actually it starred the dancer from Lit, Steps, who's the main character, Sean, in the movie.
Okay.
And from there, I knew this is what I wanted to do, so I cut the production out and focused for a year straight on just being the most I could learn from filmmaking and the ins and outs of what to do and not to do. And of course, along the way, I made a few mistakes, made a few movies. My first full feature was called Uni, and you can catch that. It's on YouTube now, and that was maybe 2011, 2012.
Wow.
So after that, I didn't turn back. I just kept it moving with the project. But definitely, that moment when I made my first short film, this is what I want to do.
Okay.
So that was it.
It seems like things are coming full circle for you. Been able to put people from your past into what you're doing right now that were there from you from the start. That's a wonderful thing.
And that's one of the things I like to do, is involve, like, I would say loyalty, but at the same time, just going to certain people I know that get a job done. Like, a lot of times, every time I shoot a project, I try to keep Zenith Star, he's from Patterson, involved, whether it's narrating or with music he puts in or whatever the case is. I try to keep it close to home, similar to what Spike Lee did when he first started and had a lot of the actors within his first few projects, come back and play another character. So I pretty much learned that from Spike Lee.
Spike Lee. Now, do you have any advice for up-and-coming directors or writers?
Definitely. Learn your craft. Never get comfortable. It's very easy once you do your first movie and the red carpet premiere and everybody's like, oh, this is fabulous, this is great. Just don't take that and let that be your ceiling or where you stop, and keep grinding to get better. Every time I shoot a movie, I find ways to improve what I did and find better ways, either with a bigger budget, cameras, angles, the writing, and just try to get more towards, being a better movie director, because there's always leveling up. There's always room to level up. So I never sleep. I'm always on the internet, on YouTube, find new ways how to deal with different kind of actors, the best way to get my message across to that actor. So my biggest thing to up-and-coming directors and writers is learn your craft and build a solid team. You can't do it by yourself. My first movie I was by myself, and I learned it the hard way. You can't hold the camera, direct the actor, and the sound at the same time.
Right.
You're going to lose out on quality somewhere. So it's best to build a solid team.
Well, that is life experience advice. One more question.
No problem.
What's next on the horizon for Hall Mills Network? What can we expect?
Hall Mills, we have a lot of things. We're about to drop a documentary about the Brick City Lions, Pop Warner team out of Newark, New Jersey. They won back-to-back national championships. We also working on our next film, putting it together, hopefully shooting in California. And we have another project called The Father's Pride, executive produced by Alonzo Moran. That's going to be a real powerful movie. We're dropping around Father's Day.
Oh, okay.
And we have a few more projects in the works. And hopefully we're shooting a project in D.C., another movie. So we're really busy. And we got a lot of things going on. We also have a Roku channel. So if you're at home, you have a Roku TV or Roku device, download Hall Mills Network and check out our content.
That's a big deal because everybody's home right now still.
Right.
I think things are slowly opening, but for the most part, we home. So Roku TV, Hall Mills Network. That is awesome.
Right.
Jamal, I want to thank you for having the time to come on to Moonbeam Radio. If there is any other projects and endeavors that you're doing, please be sure to let me know, and we will get you on here. We'll let the people know. And I just want to make sure that we keep people abreast of what you're doing because I appreciate what you're doing, and I want to encourage you to continue to move forward and upward.
I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to be on your platform. This is a great platform, and I hope much success go down the road for yourself and see, mainstream TV, whatever's in the future works for you. But I appreciate you and giving me the opportunity to be here.
Thank you so much. And I'll talk to you soon. You take care.
Thank you.
That was Jamal Hall on the check-in, Hall Mills Network. Source here is NBCnews.com. So there was two women dressed up to appear as elderly women to get the coronavirus vaccine. Now, this is in Orlando, Florida. So the women disguised themselves with bonnets, gloves, and glasses. But it didn't end there. No. According to the Orlando Sentinel, which is the paper down there, they also altered their birth years on their vaccination registrations to bypass the state system, which prioritizes people aged 65 and older. It appeared that the women had gotten the first shot, but it was unclear where they got it at. Now, these two women are aged 35 and 45. They were turned away and not given the second dose. Trespass warnings were issued. Now, is it that serious? Are folks that afraid of the coronavirus that they are faking their ages to, jump in the line, rock your body on, they just jumping the line? Is that where we are in 2021? They're willing to cut off folks that are the most at risk, right? According to health officials and the CDC and all these aficionados, the elderly, or everybody over 65 and over, right? That's who should get this vaccine first, and frontline, workers. Well, these two women jump in the line. And if it's that serious, why only a warning? Why is there only a warning given to them? I can say this, these two women were white, so maybe that's why only a warning. If they were something else, another ethnicity, black, right? Shots fired. Impersonators and imposters down. But nonetheless, they were allowed to leave. No harm, no foul, but this already worked once. But that's where we are in 2021. Faking paperwork, falsifying records, official health records to get vaccinated and be covered for this virus. That's how fearful we are. For part of me, I don't really blame them. They work the system, right? But it's the moral compass there that it's all about getting mine. And I don't know if that's no longer just an American Western world idea there. I think at this point it's planetary. But that don't make it right. And so they just get a slap on the wrist, though. What's stopping anybody else from doing that? Or have it been done already? And this is just the one we know about. You know, there was a doctor, I believe it was New York. He claims that some of the vaccine that he had was expiring. So he administered it to as many people as he could with the numbers of it, you know, with how many doses. And part of that number was his family. And he was taken to court, and, you know, charges are dropped now because they were saying that it was unethical, or, you know, because of the Hippocratic oath and, you know, all of that. But this is what we're doing. People are desperate. But that don't make it right. Because there are some other people that could have benefited from that vaccine more so than this young doctor's, you know, and I say young respectfully, he's under 65. Family. You know. But people are desperate. This is what happens when you push a narrative and scare the hell out of folks for a year. Then you give them hope, liquid hope, right? In a vial, not genie in a bottle, or maybe. They're doing desperate things. And speaking of desperate, NewYorkPost.com is the source here. Governor Andrew Cuomo is coming under fire. Have you heard of it? Maybe you have. But let's discuss it, shall we? Now, his administration has been fudging COVID case numbers and terms for accepting patients at nursing homes. Now, initially, Cuomo said he did this because he didn't want the numbers to be used in a Trump political plot. Okay, but when the public didn't go for that, you know, like Hall & Oates, no can do, he switched up the story. Yep, switched it up. Now, Governor Cuomo now says it was done, but indirectly. His administration reported the numbers slowly or slower than the government had expected. Homie, please. The numbers were fudged. That's the bottom line. Cuomo has blamed this nursing home issue on the government. Of course. You blame it on Trump. Well, Trump ain't here. Now it's, his backup team, the government did it. Remember Flip Wilson? The devil made me do it? That's kind of the thing here. You freestyled or did your own remix to a mandate. No, you made up a mandate. I'm going to go there. You made it up and imposed it. You're caught. Because government documents say this: only that infected seniors can be admitted to the facilities. A nursing home can accept a resident diagnosed with COVID-19 and still under transmission-based precautions for COVID-19 as long as the facility can follow the CDC guidelines, transmission-based precautions. If a nursing home cannot, it must wait until these precautions are discontinued. But he freestyled that. He imposed something, made his own modifications to it, and was doing 9 months long of briefings. He was his own propaganda machine there. Imposing fake government sanctions on something. Now, a draft report by the Empire State for Public Policy has tied several hundred and possibly more than 1,000 nursing home deaths to the March 25th directive that I just read to you. Now, this would be associated with more than 1 in 6 of 5,700 nursing home deaths statewide between late March and early May. Governor Cuomo. You see, I have applauded you on this microphone. Thought you've done a good job handling the pandemic. I think it's an issue that you're going back and forth with your New York City mayor. Y'all two can't get along, and that's a problem. Publicly, you can't work it out. You're going at the Trump administration, which duly noted, there's some blame there. But now we learn that there's blame on you too. And for you to blame Trump and then say, oh, listen, we didn't fudge them. We didn't give them to them as quick as they wanted. They're nagging. No. You remixing and freestyling. A lot of folks died. And you're going to get blamed for it now. Because you weren't straight up. Transparency. See, when you get elected in a seat like that, you got to take it all. See, it's not good news, bad news, and different news. No. News is news. It's how we take the news. That is the issue. But if you can't be transparent and upfront in what you're doing, but you want all of the glory, right? Oh, I did such a good job. My people did, my team, such a good job. Well, those same my people, I did such a terrible job here. But nonetheless, remixing and freestyling on the mic is good for Lil Wayne, Jay-Z, right? Not for you. Governor Andrew Cuomo and his team, we need you to hold this. Source here is USA Today. Now, as our country continues to deal with this virus, there's serious debate whether stay-at-home orders or less restrictive measures have impacted this the most. Cases, hospitalizations, and death counts are changing. We know this. There's a decline. USAtoday.com has posted lengthy graphics and laid out a detailed map. Let's review a few of these states, shall we? So, for instance, you have in Oklahoma, Governor Kevin Stitt, S-T-I-T-T. Now, he has extended the state of emergency order there. The bars and restaurants curfew is 11 p.m. in place. Indoor gatherings such as weddings, funerals, and parties are limited to 50% capacity. There has been no stay-at-home order. Now, here's the numbers. This is what you want to know. Here's what we can compare. Caseload here. New cases are shrinking with just over 6,500 in 7 days compared to 11,000 7 days prior. All right. That's a good number of shrinkage, right? The shrinkage there is significant. Now, Florida has not implemented any restrictions. You've seen the footage. Floridians gone wild. You've seen it, right? Well, on October 22nd, Governor Ron DeSantis loosened, visits to nursing homes, saying higher risk of infection rate is outweighed by positive mental health benefits. This is due to increased social interaction. So he's taking that stance on it. That's what he did. And then on November 25th, DeSantis extended the executive order to prevent local governments from requiring restaurants to operate below 50% indoor capacity and required local governments to quantify. That means count and give results, scientific results, the economic impact and the public health needs for limits on indoor capacity below 100%. Now, here it is here. Caseload. So new cases are shrinking with 42,000, right, compared to 50,000 7 days prior. There's significant shrinkage there. But he didn't implement any mask wearing, social distancing, nothing. So if you go to New York, de Blasio, and here we go with Cuomo, extended the curfew of bars and restaurants to stay open an extra hour. To 11, right? New York City restaurants were allowed open indoor dining at 25%, so a quarter. But a federal court blocked Cuomo restrictions on religious gatherings. That was at the end of December. So his main restriction was stay-at-home orders. Here's the money right here. Caseload. New cases are shrinking 54,400 compared to just under 64,000 7 days prior. So what we arrive at is there's not enough evidence that sways restriction measures. Does it matter? Did it matter? What do you think? I mean, how do you see it? Was it worth all the criminalizing the mask wearers or anti-maskers? And I don't mean those folks that walked into Walmart without a mask screaming, this is unfair and I want to shop, and just not following a rule. You got to follow the guidelines, right? What I'm talking about is, was it worth dividing all of us even further in this country? Because again, we're looking back on it and the numbers, the data is there saying, really, it didn't matter. What will be, que sera, sera, right? What's going to happen, happens. Unfortunately for this situation, it's tied to human life and the prevention of death, loss. Vaccine supporters versus non-vaccine. Like, was it worth dividing us. They do a good job of that in this country. It started divided. And every chance it gets, every opportunity for unification is further divide, the great divide. But what do you think? Was it worth it? How do you feel about it? How do you see it? You can continue this conversation on social media. You can get at me on Instagram at Moonbeam Radio. You can also find me on Facebook at JAY Daniel, or in the live chat. Now, this is the time I need you to like, share, or subscribe to the channel if you are enjoying the programming thus far. Appreciate it. Moving right along. Source here is the apnews.com. So, first off, let me say, light and love to all of those affected in the Texas area dealing with freezing temps, bursting of pipes, drinking water is unsafe, power outages, more snow, food supply issues, all around hazardous and unsafe conditions. And the beat goes on. Now, officials don't know when power will be restored. It's a problem there. Now, Texas is a one-of-one state in terms of energy in this country. It's independent from the rest of the country's supply. So with all that going, responsible leadership is needed. There it is again. Can we agree on that? Leadership is needed. Responsible leadership, accountable leadership. Like, remember the Titans? Attitude reflects leadership. Well, unfortunately, that's not present in Texas. Ted Cruz, come to the carpet, homie. We need a word with you, sir. The people of Texas need you, sir. If you don't know, Ted Cruz takes his family to Cancun to avoid the cold. How noble of him, right? How cowardly of him, right? He claims that this trip was planned prior, but we know better, Ted. We know. When his plane left on Wednesday, conditions had already begun. These treacherous, life-threatening conditions were there. But we know, due to the backlash, he has now returned to Texas. He told reporters he began second-guessing the trip. From the moment he first got on the plane on Wednesday. Ted, from the moment you got on the plane, you've been second-guessing it, but you still went? That's a lie. Here's what he says. In hindsight, I wouldn't have done it. Whoa. Thank you, Mr. Cruz, for that. He goes further. Here's the pull at your heartstrings now. Wanting to be a good dad, I flew down with them last night and am flying back this afternoon. This is what he wrote. Now, Ted Cruz. Again, when you boarded the plane, you knew what the people of Texas were dealing with. I don't know how the plane took off with those conditions. And we knew weeks at least 4 days prior that it was going to be this. What do you mean you didn't know? You flew back because of the backlash. Now, because of all of this, the people of Texas are calling for him to resign. Do you think he'll do it? I can't see it. Because remember, he wants to run in 2024 for president. The people of Texas needed you, Ted. You were sworn in. You did all this campaigning, all this begging, all this lying, all this pandering to get the job. The people needed you for this, and you turned your back on them. It's despicable. You need to resign. Effective leadership. And he's listen, he's not the only one. There's other elected officials in Texas who need to answer also. Talking about they don't know what happened, how this could happen. You didn't learn anything from Sandy up here? What that water did in New York to the power grid system? Fiber optics is what you need to switch to. Now, fiber can freeze, but you need to do something because the options are there. When you hear elected officials, these guys campaigning, men and women of politics campaigning, and they talk about infrastructure, this is part of infrastructure. Power grids, water filtration, sewer systems, waste management, infrastructure. They need you. They needed you. Still need you. Even if you can't help, you need to freeze with them. You need to be hungry with them. You need to have to boil your water with them. That's what it is. But scapegoating it and talking about, me being a good dad. So now you're going to blame your family. You just threw your kids and your wife under the bus. No accountability. In hindsight, I wouldn't have done it. That's a nice way to put it as, I got caught and lost. Because we never say in hindsight after the big win, right? We don't say in hindsight, I could have did this differently. No, I won. Talk about hindsight then. And there's this thing with people in power, people on some committee, some board. It don't have to be high up. It could be at the damn church. But you got a situation over in San Francisco, the Bay Area school system. Yeah. The board. The whole board had to resign. Think about that. Because they were caught on a virtual meeting, hot mics, talking about parents only wanting school open because they need babysitters, right? Want to get away from their kids, their children, or they want to smoke weed. Yeah, that's what they're saying. So they all resigned because the public found out. The public was watching them when they said it. They didn't know they was hot. Accountable leadership. You don't want to do the job is getting on your nerves, find you a new damn job. It's different if you work at Verizon or something. I don't like my job. And I don't know, Verizon is in a bad place. I don't know. I'm just saying. People at Verizon didn't campaign to be there and be voted in like that. You did. Ted Cruz, you blew it, homie. Other elected officials in Texas, and you blew it. But at least they're there. You went to Cancun and blamed it on your family. Homie, Ted Cruz, I'm going to need you to hold this on behalf of the citizens and people of Texas. Source here is CNN.com. Kroger will close 2 stores in Seattle over the city's $4 an hour rate of hazard pay requirement for grocery workers. Did you know that? Krogers, is against the newly passed hazard pay laws. They don't want to pay the $5. You remember, Martin? Can't pay the $5. Well, in this case, it's $4. $4. Krogers is the largest grocery chain in the United States. Did you know that? So you thought it was ShopRite, right? Nah, Krogers. Now, hazard pay measures require grocery stores in this city that are bigger than 85,000 square feet to pay workers an extra $4 an hour in hazard pay. The law went into effect earlier this month. Now, prior, Kroger offered $2 an hour extra in hazard pay in the early months of the pandemic, but it ended hazard pay in May. Now, Kroger has invested $1.5 billion during the pandemic on worker pay and safety measures in stores, meaning they bought hand sanitizer and wipes, gloves, and masks. That's what it is. We need to stop it with all this fanfare and, the fluff gang. Now, they said in a statement that unfortunately, Seattle City Council didn't consider that grocery stores, even in the pandemic, operate on razor-thin profit margins in a very competitive landscape. QFC said in a news release, this was on Tuesday. That's who owns Krogers, the parent company. QFC said its operating costs have increased during the pandemic, and there were consistent financial losses at the 2 stores with the additional hazard pay requirement. It becomes impossible to operate a financially stable business. Krogers, are you aware that the coronavirus affected everybody? Every human on the planet? But let's just deal with the United States, right? Let's just keep it a little local. I don't want to go on the broad stroke here. But it affected everyone. Keep it corporate. Every business in Seattle. Let's just do that. Every business in Seattle. Not just Kroger's, the 2 that are there. We can even localize it to, it's other food stores, food supply stores, other grocery stores in Seattle. It affected them too. But they paying, if they're that large, that size, they paying the $4. See, it's all good to be the largest and the biggest when all this money and you just hand over fist got kind of a monopolized grip on things. But then when you got to tighten your belt, oh no, we can't. This is too much for us. This is unethical. These folks are putting their lives on the line for your business and also to provide a lifestyle for themselves. There used to be a saying back in the 90s, you got to pay like you weigh. In this case, you weigh over 85,000 square feet. Pay up. But for them, they'd rather close. So we have to think about the folks that this is going to impact. The two stores, the communities that they serve, those people that went to that store, those two stores, and that was their go-to to food shop. Not going to be there. The people that work there. The Krogers employees. The stock person, the produce, security. You know, the guys that do the carts, right? All of them are affected. Now they don't have a job because Kroger don't want to pay. This is what happens when you have a capitalist society. And I'm not here to get into it with communism and socialists. We're just talking about real life. The here and now. Because those are distractions too. It's real life. So now these people are going to be added to the unemployment rate because Kroger doesn't want to pay hazard pay. But when you do the unemployment numbers, Kroger's not going to have nothing to do with those numbers. They're not going to be implicated in that. Capitalists, get mine, forget you. We're all connected. But this is despicable and dangerous now. It's causing families to split up, people losing their jobs. And we have people committing suicide, domestic violence is up, hard drug use. These are culprits of that. These are reasons. Now, there's a story here. Vox.com and Oxford Dictionary is the source here. So as my travels, reading, writing, viewing material, looking at stories and things, this jumped out at me. You know, there's a term called microaggression. We need to discuss and break this down. So microaggression, a statement, action, or incident regarded as an instance of indirect, subtle, or unintentional discrimination against members of a marginalized group, such as a racial or ethnic minority. What does this all mean? Well, let me give you some examples. So microaggression, an example of microaggression would be, picture this, right? Close your eyes, picture this. A black man is getting on an elevator. He notices that a white woman flinches and clutches her bag as she sees him enter the elevator. Racial stereotype, right? Or a woman speaks up in an important meeting, preferably corporate, picture that, but she can barely get a word in without being interrupted by her male colleagues. Microaggression. Anytime where a person's bias against a marginalized group reveals themselves and leaves victims feeling uncomfortable or insulted. Now, you may be thinking, wow, people are way too damn sensitive. Well, hold on. Pump your brakes, homie. Because this is just another way of co-opt terming, which is discrimination. You see, we live in a racist society. Let's just talk it. I got to say it how I see it. You feel it. You know it. You know it to be true. And it used to be all overt. But I guess to keep the cycle going, you have to not have your actions line up with your words. What do I mean by that? Well, it was okay. Jim Crow, right? Then civil rights, which I don't know why it's called civil when it should be human. Anyway, you have that movement, and then it begins to go covert. But you got to give it up to them, the Ku Klux Klan. They kept it. They kept it original Rude Boys. They kept the sheets on. But you see now, they're going. It's covert. You're doing passive aggressive things. See, that was the term it used to be. Now it's microaggression. Don't matter what you call it. So people are up in arms about to get you. Oh wow, they're so way too sensitive. Because of the change the term here? You see, the people that say that this is way too sensitive, you haven't been discriminated enough, if any. You're talking from a privileged place. But let's be clear. My focus here with this is with black folks. You see, this only comes about when another group has a problem. Another group meaning Jews or they talk about women, but it's not really women. Homophobia. You see, but none of these other groups have had dogs sicked on them, hoses turned on them, Molotov cocktails thrown at their homes. The Jews have had that Molotov cocktail thing at the synagogue, not at their homes. And that's a religious group, you know? I don't like when black people are used as a front for another agenda. And that's kind of how this feels. It ain't cool. And it needs to stop. But we also have to stop allowing it to happen. Like, don't be used. Like an example. All those black entertainers talking to Donald Trump. And then not understanding that nothing's going to come of it. And he's going to use it as a photo op in a time and for you to be ostracized and look crazy. And then one after another, they would keep going to talk to him. Why? Didn't you see the last one? What happened to the last guy? It's like that game, The Lemmings. You remember The Lemmings? They just follow everyone into a ditch. They just, all of them go, boom, boom, boom. But microaggression. Just doing things passive aggressively. Say how you feel. But then I get to say how I feel too. And maybe the feeling is mutual. FNXFit.com. All natural sleep aids, pre and post workout shakes. Try the recovery powder available in raspberry lemonade, grape limeade, snow cone, and watermelon burst. Use promo code Moonbeam for 15% off your order. Go to FNXFit.com. Two women dressed up as elderly women to get coronavirus vaccinations. They were turned away and given warnings. Governor Andrew Cuomo under fire for fudging COVID case numbers in turns for accepting patients at nursing homes. Blames Trump and the government. Stay-at-home orders or less restrictive measures. Did it really change where we are now? Was it worth it? Evidence and hindsight doesn't tell much either way. Love and light to all those affected in the Texas area. Ted Cruz, you dropped the ball, homie, and were caught with your hand in the cookie jar. Hall & Oates can't go for that. No can do. Accountable leadership is what's needed. Kroger will close 2 stores because of hazard pay. They don't want to pay. Still want to shop there? Microaggression, indirect or subtle discrimination because of race and ethnicity. America's been that for black people the entire time. This is about homophobia and sexism to a point. Is it too sensitive or woven into the fabric of the culture? I want to thank my special guest, Director Jamal Hall. If you have Roku TV or a Roku device, you can view the entire Hall Mills Network catalog. Support the movie Lit and be on the ready for a Second Chance movie dropping later this year. Be sure to check out GMK_Young Bolo and at Chef Redfern on Instagram. I'm Jay Daniel. This has been Moonbeam Radio. I'll see you next week. Take care.
So if you Brick City like I'm Brick City, yes, lit. It was overall a really great movie. Really good. I think it could really go far.
Like the movie is gonna be the movie of the year.
You get to see all the beautiful art, you get to see the buildings, you get to see the people.
It was very well put together. Everything, I think it was dope.
It was dope. It was lit.
If you're not from Newark, then you wouldn't understand how this music thing works.
You know I keep my pulse to the street. It's a new crew called the Brick City Squad. Nobody's messing with them in the entire state.
We're not rappers. Nah. We make club music for the streets. Since my pops was young, club music always been popping in the Brick City. It all started in Baltimore. We just took it and adapted it into our own thing. You see, to make it big, you need a solid team. That's exactly what me and my brother did.
What you talking about, man? Why you think y'all got respect? I'm the reason why nobody mess with y'all.
Nobody asked you to play bodyguard, Sin.
This is my block. Pop locking down, cuz.
Busy schedule? Timing issues? Don't know what to cook tonight? Holla at Chef Red. Services include meal prep, catering, personal chef duties, full-course meals, as well as alternative vegan options. Desserts are stellar. I recommend the banana pudding. Delivery is available for qualifying orders. Contact her on Instagram at Chef Redfern. Tell her J. Daniel sent you.